sound off for Chesterfield. Chesterfield, only cigarette in America to give you premium quality in both regular and king size, brings you Dragnet.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to homicide detail. Naval intelligence tells you that 2 Marines have been picked up for the shore patrol. They're reported sick. 1 is in critical condition. Foul play is suspected. Your job? Investigate. Here's what leading tobacco publications have had to say about king-size Chesterfield.
U.S. Tobacco Journal, Atlanta, Georgia. Chesterfield king size is going strong. One jobber reordered twice this week, in addition to his regular order.
And the Chicago Weekly, Tobacco Leaf, reports more calls for Chesterfield king-size cigarettes than for most brands being marketed.
The reason for king-size Chesterfield's amazing success is this. All king-size cigarettes give you quantity, but only Chesterfield king-size gives you quantity plus quality. Premium quality.
That means Chesterfield king size contains tobaccos of better quality and higher price than any other king size cigarette. The same fine tobacco as in regular Chesterfields. Enough more of this tobacco to give you over a fifth longer smoke.
So remember, Chesterfield is the only cigarette to give you premium quality in both regular and king size.
Buy 'em either way you like 'em. Chesterfield gives you the best possible smoke. Much milder.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Tuesday, July 10th. It was hot in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of homicide detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Lorman. My name's Friday. It was 7:58 a.m. when I got to room 42. Homicide.
Morning, Joe.
Hi.
Just get in?
Yeah,
Anything in the book?
I'm looking.
What's the matter? You hacked about something?
No. Why do you ask that?
Figures you saw about something. What'd you do, take a sour pill? You keep this up, you won't be asked to pose for toothpaste ads.
Oh, that's funny.
All right, Joe. Tell your Uncle Dudley. What's the matter?
Well, it's that court deal yesterday. It was miserable.
Thing you and Gaffney been working out?
Yeah, the white glove bandit came up while you were out on vacation. Spent over a month on it. Covered it from every angle.
Yeah?
It looked like we had the guy any way he turned. We had an idea how much he'd taken on each job. Lee thought he traced him on every move he made on each of the deals. We figured we really had the guy. DA's office thought so, too.
They quit him?
Yeah. Let him walk right out. 12 men, good and true. Let that cheap hoodlum walk right out on the streets a free man.
Well, that's the way it goes sometimes.
Is there Mr. Friday here?
Yes, sir. I'm Friday. Is something I can do for you?
Well, I'm Richard Houston, Naval Intelligence. Deputy Chief Brown directed me to you.
I see. Well, it's my partner, Frank Smith, Lieutenant Houston.
Yes, Smith.
Why, sit down, sir. What is it we can do for you?
Well, we got a weird one. That's why we thought your department ought to be in on it. About all I can tell you is just the skeleton of the thing. We don't know all the details. We haven't gone into it completely yet. We figured you fellows would like to be in on it from the beginning. Looks like it's going to be a police investigation.
Yes, sir.
To begin, I should go back 3 weeks ago and tell you the story as near as we've been able to reconstruct it.
Yes, sir. Go right ahead.
Well, a couple of Marines left the base. They'd just gotten back from Korea, both on a 48-hour pass. We figured they came up here to L.A. They had a lot of back pay in their pockets. We don't know where they started, but they ended up in a cheap hotel. We got a call from the shore patrol early Monday morning. They'd gotten a complaint that the 2 boys were causing a disturbance in the hotel. They picked them up and found they both were in a pretty bad way. They had them shipped to the Naval Hospital down at Long Beach. By the time they got there, they were really rocky.
Well, I'm sorry, sir, but I don't quite see just how we're connected with this.
Well, I'm getting to that.
Oh, sorry.
All right, I'm a little long-winded. Anyway, last night, the boys had been AWOL for over 2 weeks. They were brought into the hospital, like I said. Doctors did what they could, but it was too late to help. One of the boys died late last night. We're not sure about the other one. That's where you come in, sir. They were both poisoned.
9:06 a.m. Frank and I talked with Captain Lorman, then we checked out a trip car and left for Long Beach. When we got there, we talked with the doctor in charge. He told us that it would be later that night before the boy would be completely out of danger. He said, however, that we could talk to him if we phrased our questions so that the answers could be kept fairly brief. We looked over the boy's record. His full name was Jack Wayne Walker, age 24. He'd enlisted in the Marine Corps on January 14th, 1950. He'd spent almost a year in the Far East, and his service record had been good until this time. The record of the victim, PFC Edward Monahan, was pretty much the same. The boys had both come from the same town in Arkansas. The date of their enlistment was the same. They'd served overseas the same time. At 3:48 p.m., the doctor ushered us into Jack Walker's room.
Who are you?
Police officers, Jack. We'd like to talk to you.
What's it about? I haven't done anything. At least I don't think I did.
No, it's not that. We'd like to find out what happened while you were up in L.A.
Well, I killed my buddy up there. That's what happened. You heard about that, didn't you?
Yes, we did. That's what we want to talk to you about.
Poor Ed. Year in Korea. Guys taking pot shots at us. Cold, mud. And we got to come back here to get it. I didn't trust that little crumb. I knew we shouldn't have had anything to do with it.
Well, you shouldn't have trusted who, Jack?
Stubby.
You know the rest of his name?
No, just Stubby. I just can't believe it about Ed. He shoved off for L.A. going to have a last fling. Ed was getting married as soon as we got home.
All right, if you could just start right at the beginning.
Oh, sure. Well, first, we both had a 48-hour pass. We figured to go to L.A., like I said, for last fling. A few drinks, look at some of the lights, have a little fun. Sort of a bachelor party for Ed before he got hitched, you know. Well, we pulled into town. Let's see, I think it was Saturday morning. A couple of buddies told us about a joint up there where we could have some fun.
Yeah.
Well, we head up there, and nice little place that hour of the morning, I guess about 10:30. Well, we start in to drink. It gets pretty foggy after that. Like little parts in a jigsaw, you know. You sort of see a little bit of everything, but the whole picture ain't there.
Yeah.
Well, I remember we hung around the place for 2 days, and then it all really goes black. The next thing I remember, we woke up in some flea bag. I remember looking at the calendar on the wall. We was already a couple of days AWOL. Ed and I talked about what we should do. And then we get to trying to think up an excuse for the CO for being AWOL. With our CO ain't easy. He's had experts try. Ed says he'd figure out something, so we start for the bus depot, get back to base. On the way, we pass this bar, and Ed says, well, maybe we ought to stop and have one more for the road, so we do. And I don't remember much for a couple more days. And I remember once we stopped and watched the guy get tattooed. Ed and I got talking about it, you know, whether or not we should have it done. Finally, we figured it was kind of kid stuff, so we didn't. I remember that because it was right after we left the tattoo place, we went to this bar where we met Stubby.
Well, this is the fellow that you were talking about?
Yeah, it's him.
And you met him in a bar?
Yeah. Ed and I were sitting there trying to figure out what we was going to do, you know. We were pretty broke by this time, and then, too, we was over 2 weeks AWOL. Anyway, sliced it, we had big trouble.
Yeah.
Well, we walked into this place. It was about 4:30 or 5 in the afternoon. At least near as I can tell, that's about what time it was. The whole deal gets kind of foggy. We sat down at this bar and ordered a drink, and just sitting there minding our own business, trying to figure what we ought to do. And then this Stubby joker comes up, sits down next to Ed, brings a drink with him.
He was in the bar when you came in, is that right?
Yeah, well, at least I think so. I didn't pay much attention, but he had a drink when he come up to Ed and me.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, he got to talking about the Corps, and next thing we know, he's setting up the drink. The way we was fixed, as long as he wanted to buy, we wasn't going to argue.
Did they seem to know this Stubby in the bar?
Yeah, a girl who waits on tables called him my name.
All right, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, well, this Stubby kept going on about how he liked the Corps and how he'd won a whole flock of citations in Korea. Told us all about the time he'd spent in Japan. First, we thought he was just throwing a bunch of coconuts at us, but we'd ask him about places in Korea and things you could only know if you was there. He'd come up with the answers all right, but even with all that, there was something that just didn't ring true with me.
Yeah.
Anyway, long about 8 or 8:30 that night, Stubby got in a thrash with the bartender, something about the price of the drink, so he suggested we go up to his place and get a jug, you know, and drink up there. Well, I wasn't too hot for the idea, but Ed said we had nothing to lose, and we didn't have a sack for the night, and there wasn't much dough left, so we shoved off with him.
Where'd this Stubby live?
A hotel down on 5th. I'll tell you how to find the place.
Same place you were picked up in?
Yeah.
We got the address there.
Oh, okay.
Well, what happened when you got Stubby's room?
Well, we cracked the jug, sat around drinking for a while, and then Ed and I went to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
I tell you, the next morning we had the biggest hangovers in the entire United States and Canada, both of us. We felt miserable. Ed started beefing about the cheap booze Stubby'd rung in on us. That's when he tried to tout us on them pills.
What pills are those?
Oh, them things supposed to relieve hangovers.
Oh, you mean the kind they sell in drugstores?
Oh, no, damn. Stubby told us about that one. He'd come back to the States. He'd stood some duty in a hospital and said that while he was there, he got them pills. Said there was a special prescription, that they was great for head shrinking. He wanted us to try them.
Did you?
Well, no, not right away. He kept after us, though, kidding us about being big, tough Marines with a hangover. And then he took one of the pills, leastwise we thought he did. So Ed and I figured then we didn't have anything to lose.
You took one of these hangover pills then, did you?
Yeah, we both did.
Mm-hmm. What happened then?
Well, nothing right away. Stubby said it'd take a little time for it to take effect. We got up and started to get dressed. Ed and I thought we'd better get back to the base, you know. We'd probably be in enough trouble as it was without worrying about a hangover.
Yeah. You left the room?
No, we was just getting our stuff together, and Ed took sick. Said he had awful pain in his stomach, like a cramp, you know. And we asked Stubby if the pill could have caused it. He said no. It must have been the booze.
Mm.
Well, right about then, I was getting ready to mop up the place with this Stubby. I figured sure he'd given us a Mickey. I couldn't figure why, though. And then it hit me.
That pill, huh?
Yeah, I guess so. Real bad cramps in my stomach. I got real dizzy. The room started to go around. And we asked this Stubby to call a doctor, and that's when we knew he was really in trouble.
How's that?
Well, we knew then he was nuts off his trolley. And neither of us could walk. Ed doubled up and passed out, and I could hardly keep awake. We both just lay there on the floor. I kept asking this bum to get us a medic.
Mm-hmm. Did he?
No, he just stood there and laughed at us, laughed like a crazy fool. He kept saying we was big, strong Marines. We should be able to take a little stomach ache without running to a doctor.
At no time did he make any attempt to get you medical help?
No, just like I said, he just stood there and laughed at us. Then he got real mean. Got crazy leer on his face. Said he'd show us that he'd fix us up good for what we'd done.
Well, what do you mean by that?
I don't know. All I thought about was getting Ed and me to a doc. About this time, I didn't much care what the little screwball did. Then it really started harping on how he's getting even with us. I tried to get at him. I'd have killed him if I could have. I tried to get at him, but I fell and went out, I guess. And that's when he said that thing about that we wouldn't be the last ones he'd get.
What?
Well, he said like this, you guys are the first, just the first. But there's going to be more, a lot more.
We continued to talk to Jack Walker. He gave us a complete description of the man he'd known as Stubby. And going over the story again with him, there were a few changes in it, but none that couldn't be accounted for by his condition. We got the address of the bar where he'd met Stubby. We checked with the doctor, and he told us that both boys had been given a powerful corrosive poison. He went on to say that it was a miracle that Jack Walker was still alive. 9:26 p.m. Frank and I drove back to Los Angeles. We checked into the office and ran the name Stubby through the moniker file in R&I, but we found nothing. We got out a local and an APB on the description and the name. The stats office started to run on the M.O. Frank and I checked the hotel on 5th Street, and the manager showed us the room, but he said that it had been cleaned and occupied since the two Marines had left. Leighton Prince went over the room, but failed to come up with anything. We took the hotel registration card and booked it in as evidence. The man had signed his name as Alton Richards. The manager gave us the same description as the one we'd gotten from the Marines. We ran the name through R&I, but we failed to come up with any new leads. There'd been no replies to the broadcast, and the stats office had finished the run and had come up with 4 possible suspects. These were checked out, but they led us nowhere. 2:30 a.m. We checked the bar, but we found it was closed. Wednesday, 8:14 a.m. We briefed Captain Lorman on the developments, and then we went over to again check the bar where the two Marines were supposed to have met Stubby. The place was deserted except for one man drinking a beer. The waitress was sitting in a rear booth filing her fingernails. Frank and I went back to talk to her.
Yeah, something you want?
Well, police officers, miss. We'd like to talk to you.
Cops, huh?
Yes, ma'am. This is my partner, Joe Friday. My name's Smith.
Smith. Boy, does that sound phony.
Here's my ID card.
Yeah, it's Smith, all right. What do you want?
Will you mind if we sit down?
No, go ahead, live.
Thank you.
What's this all about?
Do you work here steady?
Yeah, most of the time.
What's your name, miss?
Vera. Vera Gay.
Well, Miss Gay, were you working here around the 8th or 9th or the 10th of July?
Yeah, and you can make it Vera.
Mm-hmm. You know most of the people who come in here regular, do you?
Yeah, I suppose so.
Wonder if you look at this description and tell us if you know the man here.
WMA. What does that mean?
White male American.
Yeah, WMA. 36 years, 5'7" to 5'9", 155 pounds stubby.
Yeah?
Yeah, I know him. Comes in here all the time. Nice guy. Loud when he gets drunk. He's always nice to me, though. Tells me I should be in pictures. You know, the movies.
Yes, ma'am. Have you seen him today?
No, he hardly ever gets in before maybe noon, 1 o'clock. This doesn't bother you, does it? Am I following my nails?
Not at all.
It does bother some people, you know. Like running a piece of chalk down a blackboard.
This Stubby, does he have any other name? Did you know it?
Yeah, Paul Rogers.
That's another one, Joe. No. Well, you want to go ahead, miss?
I went out with him a couple of times. Finally gave it up. I couldn't go that route.
What's that, ma'am?
All he talked about was either him in the Marine Corps and what a big hero he was, or else how he was going to get me in pictures, you know, movies.
Yes, ma'am.
I didn't come out to California to get in the movies. No, I came out to be a private secretary, only those jobs are a little hard to get, so I work here. Make enough for coffee and cakes. And when a job comes along, I'll take it. Work in a big office, nice boss. Who knows, he might even marry me. That movie hokum for me. No, sir, not your little Vera.
Did you work on the night of the night? It's the night before last?
Let's see. Yeah, I was in.
You happened to see the Stubby Rogers that night?
Well, I got to think about that. Let's see. That was the night we had the fight just before closing. Yeah, he was in earlier.
You happen to notice if he was with anybody?
What's it all about? He do something you want him for?
No, we just like to talk to him.
Yeah. Well, if he did anything, we had nothing to do with it. This is a good place. We got nothing to do with the people who come in. Got the price of a drink, they get served. We don't ask for trouble.
Oh, we aren't going to cause any trouble, miss. We just want to talk to this Rogers.
Yeah, well, as long as we aren't run into it.
Do you remember if he was with anyone?
Yeah, he was with a couple of Marines. Left with them, had a beef with Sam. He's the night bartender. Complained that the drinks were too high. I don't know what he was crying about. He's been drinking here a long time. Never had problems before.
You saw him leave with these two Marines then?
Yeah, 3 of them walked out. I think, actually, they sort of floated out. The 2 kids were really boiled.
You remember what time it was when they left?
Oh, that'd be kind of hard to tell. We were pretty busy.
Well, it's pretty important, miss.
Yeah, let me think. I guess maybe around 8, maybe 8:30, around in there. It's just a guess, though.
Do you have any idea where this Rogers lives?
Yeah, I've been there a couple of times. Hotel on South Hill.
Can you give us the address?
Yeah, I got it in my purse. Yeah, I should have known he was a phony, always saying it's how he could get me in pictures, you know, in movies.
Yes, ma'am.
Don't come that way. Of course, you understand I didn't come out here to get in pictures. I came out to be a private secretary. Here's the address. Here, keep it. I won't be using it anymore.
All right, thank you, Miss Kay. Here's our card. If you think of anything more you think we ought to know, we'd appreciate a call from you.
Yeah, thanks.
Sure appreciate your help.
Well, you never know. Maybe I'll need your help sometime. Matter of fact, you might be able to lend me a hand. Producers. You know, movies.
Frank called the name Paul Rogers into the office, and a supplementary broadcast and an APB were gotten out. A stakeout was arranged on the bar. We went back to the city hall, and a check through R&I on the name Paul Rogers netted us nothing. We drove over to the hotel on South Hill. The manager told us that Rogers was not in his room. He went on to say that Rogers had not been using his room regularly for the past week or so, but that he had been in a couple of days before in the company of a soldier, and that as far as he knew, the soldier was still in. In the company of the manager, Frank and I went upstairs. The manager unlocked the door, and we went in. A minute, Frank. There's someone in bed.
Yeah.
Come on, you.
How about it?
Just a minute.
How about it, Joe?
I don't know. He's dead.
You are listening to Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action.
And now a report every smoker should hear.
Nose, throat, and accessory organs not adversely affected by smoking Chesterfields. First such report published about any cigarette.
A responsible consulting organization reports a study by a competent medical specialist and staff on the effects of smoking Chesterfields. For 6 months, a group of men and women smoked only Chesterfield, 10 to 40 a day, their normal amount. 45% of the group have smoked Chesterfields from 1 to 30 years, for an average of 10 years each. At the beginning and end of the 6 months, each smoker was given a thorough examination, including x-rays, and covering the sinuses, nose, ears, and throat. After these examinations, the medical specialist stated,
It is my opinion that the ears, nose, throat, and accessory organs of all participating subjects examined by me were not adversely affected in the 6 months period by smoking the cigarettes provided.
Remember this report and buy much milder Chesterfields, regular or king size.
Wednesday, July 11th, 12:40 p.m. We called the coroner's office, then we got in touch with the crime lab and the photographers. After the pictures had been taken, the body was removed. The victim was a soldier in his mid-30s. On the nightstand beside the bed, we found an empty pill bottle and a suicide note. The note was booked as evidence and turned over to Don Meyer for comparison with the handwriting taken from the hotel registration card that Rogers had signed. The men from Leighton Prince went over the place thoroughly. They came up with several classifiable prints. Fingerprints found on the bottle belonged to the victim. There were several other sets in the room which were not identified. The crime lab went over the room, and they went back to the lab to make their analysis. All officers in the area were alerted to be on the lookout for Rogers. Frank and I talked to the manager of the hotel, a Henry Corey. He told us that Rogers had lived in the hotel for the past 4.5 months. He said that Rogers was quiet, kept pretty much to himself, and for the most part was a good tenant. He said that on several occasions Rogers had gotten behind in his rent, but that he'd always managed to come up with the money. The manager told us that in the conversations he'd had with Rogers, the main topic had been the Marine Corps and the suspect's record overseas. Rogers presented himself as an armchair general, constantly calling down the way the situation was being handled. He would refer to his own exploits, but when questioned about his leaving the service, he became vague and evasive. Additional handwriting samples were obtained and sent to Meyer. The manager told us that the latest victim had come in with Rogers the night before, and that at the time he'd been pretty drunk. They'd gone upstairs, and when Rogers had left in the morning, the manager had assumed that the soldier had gone the night before. 3:20 p.m. Frank and I went back to relieve the stakeout at the bar.
Back again?
Yes, Miss Gay.
Sit down.
Thank you.
It seems like every time I see you, I'm doing something with my nails. This morning filing them, now I'm filing them again. I'm going to put polish on them after this. I guess you think I'm pretty vain.
No, not at all, miss.
A new color called Frosted Rose. And pretty? Mm-hmm. Kind of iridescent, what the label says. To sprinkle your nails with stardust.
Yes, ma'am.
Pretty bottle, too. They sure put things up nice nowadays. Uh-oh, here comes your boy.
It's Rogers.
Yeah.
Yes, Stubby, what'll it be?
Bourbon Coke.
How's it going, Stubby?
Same old 6 as before.
Yeah, pretty dull.
You're doing a great business.
It's early yet. Here's your drink. It'll be 4 bits.
There you go. All right, tastes good.
All right, Frank, let's go.
No trouble now.
Not unless he makes it.
Hi, fellas. Something you want?
You Paul Rogers?
Yeah, who are you?
Police officers. We'd like to talk to you.
I don't want any trouble in
No,
here.
there's not going to be any trouble.
Always fights. Why is it everybody comes into a bar and starts fights? Ain't there someplace else to be?
All right, come on, Rogers.
What for? You got nothing to hold me in.
We'll talk to you about that, too.
Well, let me finish my drink.
No, afraid not. Let's go now.
Look, I said I was going to finish my drink. Don't lean.
Let's can it, mister, and go.
I said I was going to finish my drink.
All right, mister, on your feet.
Nothing on him.
All right, let's take him to the office.
Sergeant.
Yes, sir.
Thanks. Sure appreciate it.
Well, what's that?
Thought for a minute there you were going to have a fight.
We took the suspect back to the city hall. Then we checked the name through the Marine base in San Diego. Lieutenant Richard Houston called back to say that Rogers had received a court-martial and a dishonorable discharge in January of that year. He'd been tried by a military court on a charge of stealing alcohol from the hospital pharmacy and selling it to the patients in the hospital. We stopped in handwriting analysis, and Don Meyer took an exemplar of the suspect's writing. When we checked by the office, there was a message from Sergeants Bill Cummings and Harry Hansen stating that their investigation had shown that the death of the soldier in Rogers' room was suicide beyond any doubt. 7:46 p.m. Frank and I talked to the suspect in the interrogation room.
Terrible thing treating a veteran like
All right,
this.
let's save it, Rogers. There's a few questions we'd like some answers to.
I got nothing to hide.
All right, what were the conditions for your discharge from the Marine Corps?
What do you mean?
Did you get an honorable discharge or a dishonorable discharge?
I had a little trouble. Lousy officers never did understand what the problems of the enlisted man were.
What do you do for a living, Rogers?
I work.
Where?
Around.
You have a steady job?
What do you mean steady?
One you've held for, say, more than 6 months?
Haven't been out of the service that long.
Where'd you serve in the Corps?
Japan, Korea.
How long are you there?
About 4 or 5 months.
Why'd you come back?
I was wounded.
How?
What do you mean, how?
Just that. How were you wounded?
Well, I wasn't exactly wounded. I had my feet frostbit.
Mm-hmm. According to this here, you went AWOL and got lost. When they found you, your feet were frozen. Is that right?
What's that you got?
Your record in the Corps.
You got a lot of nerve digging into that. What do you got me in here for anyway? I done nothing that puts me in line for this kind of
Do
treatment.
you know a couple of Marines named Ed Monahan and Jack Walker?
Monahan? Walker? No, I don't think I know.
You ever register in a hotel on 5th Street?
No, I live over on Hill.
You know a soldier named Marty Wilkins?
What's he got to do with it?
We found him dead in your room.
You're cracking up.
Yeah, sure, Rogers. We just dreamed we found that body.
Had nothing to do with him. Met him in a bar. He said he wasn't feeling too good. Said he didn't have a place to sleep. I let him have my room. Something wrong in that? Be a little kind, and now even that gets you in trouble.
You sure you don't know a Marine named Ed Monahan?
Positive.
There's something wrong, Rogers. Girl at the bar said she saw you leave the place with 2 Marines. They could have been Monahan and Walker.
Well, maybe I know them. I might and still not know their names.
You didn't take them up to a room you'd rented in a hotel on 5th Street?
No, I told you once I never lived on 5th.
Checked with our handwriting man. He says your writing matches some samples we found on the hotel register.
Maybe I write like somebody else.
No, we don't think so, mister. How about Jack Walker? Maybe you know him, you just didn't remember him.
No, I keep telling you, I don't know them.
Vera says you do.
Well, she's lying.
Is she?
Sure she is. She's trying to save her own skin.
From what?
She doesn't want to stand a rap for murder, can't you see?
Yeah, go ahead, Roger.
I'm saying nothing until I see my lawyer.
You sure you don't want to tell us why you did it?
I got nothing to say.
Makes it tough, Roger.
What do you mean?
Just makes it rough, that's all. Looks like you're going to have to stand a murder rap.
Yeah?
That's the way it looks.
Well, I didn't mean it. I didn't. I just wanted to get even, that's all. Just get even.
For what, Rogers?
For the way the Corps treated me. Kicked me out. I didn't do anything really wrong. Copped a little alcohol, that's all. No harm done.
They look at it a little different.
Yeah, that's the trouble. Stinking brass, they're all alike. They don't care what happens to us, the guys in the field. Tried to get a job. I looked everywhere. I just didn't fit. Seemed like everywhere I went, I got into trouble. I wanted like it was when I first went in. Like it was after boot camp. Walking down the street, girls looking at you, a Marine, a big man. They took that away from me. They wouldn't let me enlist again. I tried, but they wouldn't let me. You can understand what that'd do to a guy, can't you?
I don't know.
It tore me apart. Right then, I decided to get even with all the stinking gyrenes in the world. They wouldn't let me in, and I hated them.
Yeah. Remember what happened the day you gave the 2 boys the pills, do you?
Sure, I remember all of it. Oh, they cried for a medic. They weren't big men then. No, sir, they sure weren't.
All right, Rogers, we'll get a stenographer.
Tell me, Sergeant,
Yeah.
did I get both of them?
No, Walker's going to be all right.
He the young one?
That's right.
A real nice kid. Lucky, too.
Is that right?
Yeah, no worries. Really got it made. Uniform, that's what does it. Uniform makes all the difference in the world.
Yeah, well, don't worry. You'll get one.
The story you have just heard was true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On November 13th, trial was held in Department 87, Superior Court of the State of California, in and for the County of Los Angeles. In a moment, the results of that trial.
Now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you, George Fenneman. In modern crime detection, the working detective depends on scientific research. He relies on the services of trained experts in ballistics, communications, fingerprints, to name just a few. He's interested only in facts. And as a smoker, you should be interested only in facts. That's why the report you heard earlier is so important to you. Nose, throat, and accessory organs not adversely affected by smoking Chesterfields. First such report ever published about any cigarette. Remember it. And next time, buy Chesterfield. Regular or king size, premium quality Chesterfield gives you the best possible smoke.
Paul M. Rogers was tried and convicted on 1 count of murder in the first degree. He was sentenced to life imprisonment in the state penitentiary, San Quentin, California. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, Sergeant Vance Brasher. Heard tonight were Ben Alexander, Virginia Gregg, Jack Crucian. Script by John Robinson. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
Sound off for Chesterfield. Either way you like them, regular or king size, possible smoke. Much milder Chesterfield.
Chesterfield has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Tonight, it's Barry Craig, confidential investigator on NBC.
Sound off for Chesterfield. Chesterfield, only cigarette in America to give you premium quality in both regular and king size, brings you Dragnet.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to robbery detail. You get a call that a bank has been robbed. From the M.O., you know the job was done by a professional. He's made good his escape. Your job? Get him. Here's what leading tobacco publications have had to say about regular and king-size Chesterfield.
U.S. Tobacco Journal, Boston, Massachusetts. Chesterfield cigarettes in the new king size is still maintaining large turnovers in this area. Dealers report that sales continue to climb on this size, and it seems that volume on the regular size has climbed to new heights with its new big brother.
And Tobacco Leaf reports from Chicago. More calls for Chesterfield king-size cigarettes than for most brands being marketed.
The reason for king-size Chesterfield's amazing success is this. All king-size cigarettes give you quantity, but only Chesterfield king size gives you quantity plus quality, premium quality.
That means Chesterfield king size contains tobaccos of better quality and higher price than any other king size cigarette. The same fine tobacco as in regular Chesterfield. Enough more of this tobacco to give you more than a fifth longer smoke.
So remember, Chesterfield is the only cigarette to give you premium quality in both regular and king size.
Buy 'em either way you like 'em. Chesterfield gives you the best possible smoke. Much milder.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Monday, January 21st. It was cold in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of robbery detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Didion. My name's Friday. It was 2:56 p.m. when I got to room 27A. Robbery.
Joe?
Yeah.
Sure cold out.
Yeah, the paper says you'd warm up a little before the end of the week.
Well, I hope so.
How'd your weekend go?
Don't bring it up.
What happened?
At my house, there's only one thing that could happen.
What do you mean?
My brother-in-law, Armand. All the time, he just sits around the house, sits there and reads those detective magazines.
Doesn't he work?
If he's ever held a job, he's kept it a secret. Just moves around between the relatives. This year, it's Faye's turn.
He just sits around all day, huh?
Yeah. Reads those detective magazines. Always sending for those books that are sent in the plain wrappers. You know, the ones that tell you how you can have a business in your own home.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Well, this time he really did it. He sent for one that tells you how to go into the house cleaning business.
Yeah.
I thought at first it might be a pretty good deal. You know, if it worked out, he could give Faye a hand with the house. Well, Saturday morning, the book gets to the house with all the formulas and instructions for making the cleaners for the rugs and the upholstery.
Yeah.
First off, he borrows $5 from me to buy the stuff to mix the formulas. Then he goes to the kitchen and takes all of Faye's good pans to mix up the goop in. It smells terrible. All those bleaches and soaps. And I'm sitting in the front room watching television. All in all, I'm pretty comfortable.
Yeah.
He comes in, he says the room is filthy, and he's going to clean it. Tells me to get out of the room and that he's going to surprise all of us.
Yeah.
Well, he did. Faye and I took the kid down to the barber's to have her hair cut, did a little shopping for the weekend. You should have seen the house when we got back, Joe. Just miserable.
What had he done?
First off, he wasn't there. Left a note on the kitchen table telling us that he was out for a walk. I kind of figured what had happened, so Faye and me walked into the living room. Joe, you wouldn't believe it.
Is that so?
Faye almost fainted.
Pretty awful, huh?
Worse than that. Room was beautiful. Everything in it was clean as a whistle. All spotless. Curtains, carpet, the upholstery, even the tables had been waxed.
What's wrong with that? Sounds to me like a pretty good deal.
Fay.
Well, what about her?
Right away, she starts climbing all over me, reads me off for being so mean to him. Says all about how I should be ashamed of myself, said that I should have thought of the house-cleaning gimmick myself. I should have given him a hand in cleaning up the place, and that the next day off, we have to do the whole house. I tell you, Joe, no matter what the guy does, it always ends up making me look bad.
Well, you say you've only got this year with him, huh?
Yeah. Then he goes to Fay's sister in Piedmont. I'll sure be glad when that time comes.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Hot shot. I'll get it. ADT 211, bank robbery in progress. It took us a little over 4 minutes to get to the bank at the corner of Lebanon and Broadway. In that time, the bandit had completed the robbery and made good his escape. A radio car had arrived at the scene, and the officers had gotten a description of the car and of the bandit. They'd called the information into communications, and a broadcast was gotten out to all cars in the vicinity to be on the alert for the holdup man. 2:40 p.m., Frank and I arrived at the bank.
Back there. Bank guard.
Yeah.
I couldn't help it. What do you want me to do? Try to stop him, have him shoot that gun off? You'd have killed half the people in here.
I'm not saying that you should have actually tried to stop him. All I'm saying is that there is something that you should have done. You just stood there and looked at him. You could see the gun. There must have been something you could do.
I beg your pardon, sir.
You get away. You're probably in cahoots with the robber. You probably came back to get the rest of the money. Well, Gibson, don't just stand there. Stop these men.
We're police officers, sir.
You see, Gibson, they're police officers. You have a badge or something? After this, I don't think I'll trust anyone again.
Yes, sir. Here's our identification.
Oh, yes, Officer Friday.
This is my partner, Frank Smith.
How do you do?
Hi.
I suppose you want to ask me a lot of questions?
Well, there are some things we'd like to know, sir.
You'd like to talk in my office, I guess. It'll be more quiet there.
That'll be fine.
Would it be all right if Gibson came along? I'd like to have him see how a couple of real detectives work.
Yes, sir. I think it'll be all right.
Fine. Back this way. Oh, Officer Friday, this is Gibson, the bank guard, and I use the term loosely. This is Mr. Jones.
That's Smith, sir. Frank Smith.
Oh, yes, Smith, sorry.
Go ahead.
Just sit down any place.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Now, you listen good, Gibson.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Allen, you were the victim, were you?
I certainly was. It was just 3 o'clock. Gibson was just putting up the chain across the door, to keep people out.
Yes, sir.
Gibson was out there. I was in here in my office. Go ahead, Gibson. Tell the officers about it.
Yes, sir. Well, he parked his car right in front of the bank, and when he pulled up, I thought it was a customer trying to get in before the bank closed. I held the chain for him.
That was nice of you.
What happened then, Mr. Gibson?
As soon as he got to the doorway, I saw the shotgun. He had it kind of under his coat. I tried to stop him, but he had the gun pointed right at me. He said that if I made a move, he'd as soon shoot me as look at me.
Mm-hmm. You sure it was a shotgun, are you?
Yes, sir, I could tell. It was a 12 gauge. It was sawed off. He told me to get over in that little alcove near the entrance to our escrow department.
Mm-hmm.
I did. And he told me to hand over my gun. I started to get it out of the holster. I thought that maybe I'd have a chance to surprise him, but he must have known what I was planning.
Why do you say that?
He told me to face into the corner. Then he took the gun out of the holster.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I did what he told me.
What happened then?
He asked me where the manager was. I pointed out his office.
Well, to this time, did any of the people in the bank have any idea what was going on?
No, sir. The way he acted, he knew what he was doing. Right off, I knew there wasn't anything I could do. Kept thinking about the people in the bank. That shotgun didn't want anyone to get hurt.
The only bright thing he did.
All right, you want to go on? What happened then?
Well, like I said, he asked where the manager's office was. I showed him, and he told me he wanted me to go back there with him.
Uh-huh.
We walked back there. He put the shotgun under his coat, and by some miracle, nobody saw it.
That's where he brought me into the picture. He just walked in, told me it was a stick-up. He had this little leather bag, the kind a doctor uses.
Mm-hmm.
He opened it up, told me to walk in front of him.
Uh-huh.
He made me carry the bag. Kept the gun at my back all the time. I could feel it. Made me walk down the row of windows, the ones into the teller's boxes. At each one, he made me stop and ask the tellers for the money.
Did he touch anything at all, do you remember?
No, he wore gloves all the time. He was real careful, wouldn't touch anything. After I put the money into the bag, he'd tell each one of them that if they made a sound, he'd kill me, then come back and kill them, too. It was terrible. Almost scared me to death.
Well, who was it that turned in the alarm here?
Walter, the cleanup man, sir. He was in the back of the bank, and he came out of the vice president's office. He saw the robber, and then he sneaked back into the room and called you. The bandit just barely got out of the place when the police car pulled up.
We gave the other officers a description of the car and the bandit.
Yes, sir. We heard the broadcast. All the cars in the area have been alerted.
I wonder if I could have a drink of water, officer. I'm so nervous. I'm still not over it. My stomach's going to be grinding for a month.
You're a member of the Federal Reserve here, aren't you?
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then the Federal Bureau of Investigation will be in on it, too.
Yes, sir.
Water's right over here. I keep it in the office for my pills. I have ulcers, you know.
Yes, sir.
Would you like a drink?
No, sir. No,
No,
thank you.
thank you.
Well, what happened after the man finished taking the money from the cages?
He walked out of the front of the place and got in his car. By that time, I could hear the sirens of the police car coming. He just left. On the way out, he said if we told him anything about him, he'd come back and kill us.
Yes, and he looked right at me when he said it. You've got to give me some sort of protection. I'm not going to make a sitting duck of myself.
We'll take care of that, sir.
Could you give us a description of the man, sir?
I've already given it to the two officers who were here.
Well, we know, sir, but if you wouldn't mind.
Of course not.
How tall would you say he was?
Oh, about 5'11", maybe 6 feet.
How old would you say he was?
30, 35, round in there.
Mm-hmm. How much do you think he weighed?
Oh, about 160, maybe more. I'm not very good at guessing weights.
How about his coloring? Was he dark or light?
Light. He had real light blonde hair. His eyebrows were almost invisible. They were so light that you almost couldn't see them at all. Same with his eyelashes.
Mm-hmm. How about his clothes?
Beg your pardon?
His clothes, what was he wearing?
Well, he had on a blue shirt.
No, I'm sorry, sir. I think it was a white shirt.
Was it? No, I'm sure it was blue. I remember because he was wearing a brown coat. I thought that he certainly didn't have very good taste, what with wearing a blue shirt and a brown coat. No, Gibson, no. The shirt was blue. No tie. Brown coat and black loafer shoes. I remember these because they were the only thing about him that looked good. They looked like those ones that are advertised in the magazines, you know, Skegums or something like that. Black.
Mm-hmm. Was there anything unusual about him?
I beg pardon?
Anything unusual about him? Anything that might cause you to remember him, know him if you saw him again?
Well, there were the bandages.
What's that, sir?
When he came in, he had bandages on his face. One over his right eyebrow, another on his chin, right here, sort of on the throat.
You mean regular bandages?
No, sir. They were those adhesive kind, you know, with the gauze and tape all together.
Oh, yeah. And you say he had one over the right eyebrow and one on his chin?
Yes, sir.
I see.
I still think it was a white shirt.
I said it was blue. Are you trying to say that I don't know blue when I see it?
No, sir. I just think that you might have made a mistake in all the excitement.
Officer,
Yes, sir?
it was a blue shirt.
All right, sir.
How about his car, the one he got away in?
It was parked right out in front.
Did you see it?
Certainly, I saw it. I was standing right in the door when he drove away.
Well, can you describe the car for us?
Yes, like I told the other officers, it was a late model Buick, dark blue, a coupe.
I'm sorry, sir, but it was a green Ford
All right,
sedan.
now let's see if we can't let Mr. Allen tell his story, Mr. Gibson. We'll check it with you when we finish with him, all right?
I don't know what you're trying to prove with these officers. After the way you handled the affair, there's no use trying to impress them with your prowess as a detective. It was a dark blue Buick coupe.
Anything unusual about the car that you could see? Any dented fenders, stickers, windshield emblems, anything like that, would you remember?
No, I didn't notice anything special.
No, sir. It looked pretty new as far as I could tell.
All right, fine. Well, you two gentlemen have helped us a lot here. There are some questions we'd like to ask the other people in the bank.
Oh, yes, that's what the other officers said. I told them all to stay. You like to talk to them now?
Yes, sir.
Fine, I'll send them in here to you.
No, we can talk to them out there, sir. Be all right.
Oh, fine. Gibson, maybe you can help them.
Officer,
Yes, Gibson.
I didn't want to tell you while we were in there. He'd probably make some remark. I didn't even tell the other officers. It's about the license number of the bandit's car.
Did you get it?
Well, not all of it, sir. Just the first 3 numbers.
The bank guard went on to explain that in the confusion, he had failed to give the information about the license number to the other officers. We continued to talk to him. He told us that the bandit had tied a cloth over the rear license plate, and that as he drove away from the scene, a corner of the cloth had come loose, and he was able to see the first 3 numbers of the plate. We called this information into communications, and a supplemental broadcast was gotten out. In company with agents from the FBI, we talked to the rest of the employees in the bank. From them, we got a fairly good description of the holdup man and of his car. They agreed that it was a late model dark Ford sedan. With FBI agent Tom Ashford, Frank and I checked by the office and asked the stats office to make a run on the M.O. We checked the oddity file on R&I on the possibility that the tape might have been used to cover scars or other marks that would make identification easier. 9:46 p.m. We stopped and got some sandwiches and coffee, and then we went to the DMV offices.
Hi, Joe.
George, you know Frank.
Yeah, hi.
How's it going, George?
This is Tom Ashford, agent from the FBI. He's working with us on this thing.
Oh, hi. Glad to know you.
Yeah, same here.
Where do we find the files here, George?
Oh, what's the number again?
1U5. That's all we have.
Not much.
Oh, you'll find the files for that number in these drawers here. You know what kind of car it is?
Yeah, Ford sedan, late model. We're not sure what year.
Uh-huh. Well, go to it. I don't envy you.
Yeah, 9,999 possibles.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's it for the night. I think I'll shove off. Anything you guys need, there'll be somebody here. You can give me a call. I'll leave my home number on the desk.
Right, thanks a lot. Good night, George.
Good night. Hope you find it before I get back.
Yeah.
So do we.
Well, let's get to it.
Right.
Let's see. 1U5. It took us the next 8 hours to go through the almost 10,000 license registrations. Each file card had to be checked for a similarity of make and model. Each automobile in the Los Angeles area was listed, and then each one in the entire state. Each of them had to be checked out. 6:02 a.m., Tuesday, January 22nd. We finished checking the files.
That does it.
I didn't know there were so many cars in California. let alone that many with a license that begins with 1U5 in the Los Angeles area.
What's the total, Joe? How's it look? Well, we got a place to start here. 302 names. 6:30 a.m. We checked back into the office, and then we went home to get a couple of hours' sleep. At 8:30 a.m., Frank, Tom, and I met in the robbery office. Captain Didion had assigned 4 other teams of men to work with us. The FBI had also assigned additional agents. The list of possibles was divided up, and we began to check them out. We spent 3 days on it. In each instance, we didn't talk to the person involved directly, but to their neighbors. We didn't explain what it was that we were after, merely that we were conducting an investigation. We ran into the usual false leads, the usual petty jealousies, and the neighborhood feuds. It all served to slow us down and make the job more difficult. There'd been no replies to the local or the APB that we'd gotten out on the car or the bandit. The stats office had come up with 2 possibles on the M.O. These were both checked out, but led us nowhere. We went back to checking out the license plate numbers. January 28th. The names on our list were down to 7. The next one was a Mr. Ivan Q. Field. We rang the bell to the house next door and waited.
Yes?
Sorry to bother you, ma'am. Police officers, wonder if we could talk to you.
Police? Well, what's it about? I haven't done anything.
No, ma'am. We'd just like to ask you a couple of questions about your next-door neighbor, Mr. Field.
I should have known. I thought a couple of times about calling you about him myself. Miserable man.
I wonder if we could come in, ma'am. Might be better than talking on the porch.
You just bet you can. Come right in. I'll tell you what you want to know.
Thank you very much.
What do you want him for? What's he done?
Well, we're just conducting an investigation, ma'am. A few things we'd like to know about Mr. Field.
Uh-huh. Well, you don't have to play cozy with me. I know what kind of people they are. Can't understand it either.
Ma'am?
I said I couldn't understand it. His brother's so nice, a real gentleman. Seems hard to believe that they'd even be related, let alone be brothers. Nothing but trouble since he and his wife moved in.
You mean it's not their house?
Oh, of course not. Don't think either one of them could afford the rent on a one-room apartment, let alone a house.
Would you know if they have a car?
No, not them. Like I said, I don't think he's ever worked. Just lives off his brother. His brother has a car. It's real nice.
What kind of a car is it, ma'am? Do you know?
Yes, it's a Ford.
Do you know what model?
Model?
Yes, ma'am. Is it a coupe or a sedan?
Oh, sedan. Real nice. Sort of a dark green. Only I guess it really isn't dark. Then it isn't light, really. Just green. Pretty, though.
Yes, ma'am. Do you know if Mr. Field is in right now?
Yes, I think so. I saw him out in the backyard a couple of hours ago, him and his wife. She was prancing around in one of them skimpy little sunsuits. Terrible. No decency at all. I tell you, officer, neither one of them's any good.
Do you know what Mr. Field does for a living?
Oh, you mean does he work?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, no. At least I've never seen any indication that he does. All he does is just sit around the yard and throw rocks at my cats. It's terrible. That's what I was going to call you about. Isn't there a law or something about throwing things at poor, dumb animals?
Yes, ma'am.
Of course, cats aren't really dumb. Lots of times I think they're a lot smarter than some people I know.
I wonder if you could describe Ivan Field for us, ma'am.
Oh, sure. He's kind of a little man, not very big.
About how tall, ma'am?
Oh, maybe 5'7".
How about his coloring?
You mean his hair?
Yes, ma'am.
Dark, very dark.
It lets us out.
It looks that way. Well, thank you very much, ma'am. Sorry to cause you all this trouble.
Oh, no trouble at all. Are you going to arrest him now?
No, ma'am.
Well, why not? What about the rocks and my cats?
Well, I think the SPCA are the people you want to talk to on that.
Well, all right. But I tell you right now, Mr. Field isn't going to like it. He likes my cats. He isn't going to like the idea at all when he hears about it. Just wait until he gets home. I'll tell him about his brother's been acting.
Well, just a minute, ma'am.
Yes?
You mean that the man living next door isn't Ivan Field?
No, I didn't say it was. It's his brother, Harry.
Brother?
What's the matter with you, young man? Don't you hear well? Everything I say, you ask me to repeat.
Well, I don't mean to, ma'am. It's just that I want to be sure of what you say.
What's going on here? First you ask me a lot of questions about Mr. Field, and then I tell you that he isn't home. He and his wife went back east for the holidays. They haven't come back yet. While he was gone, he said that his brother could use the house. I thought at first it would be nice. Then I found out. Harry is nothing like his brother, nothing at all.
Well, I wonder if you could describe him for us.
My, you want to know about everybody, don't you?
Well, we'd just like a description of Harry Field, ma'am, that's all.
Well, he's taller than Ivan. Harry must be close to 6 feet. Doesn't look anything like Ivan in any other way. Ivan's dark and Harry's light. His hair almost doesn't have any color. He's real blonde.
How long ago did they move in?
Well, now, let me see. Elizabeth, that's my Persian cat. Mm-hmm. Well, Elizabeth had her last litter in December. December the 12th. Harry and his wife moved in the next morning. I remember that because I was up most of the night with Elizabeth. She didn't need me. Awfully independent. But it was the morning that they moved in. Oh, I remember it well. Elizabeth had 6 little kittens. It was December the 13th when Harry moved in.
And they've been using Ivan Field's car?
Oh, my, yes. Hardly a day goes by but what they don't drive it somewhere.
I wonder if we could use your phone, ma'am.
Oh, sure. It's on the table there in the hall.
Thanks. I'll check the name through R&I, Joe. Okay. Would you happen to know if this Harry Field has any marks or scars on him?
Well, now, let me see. I think so.
seems to me that I saw him and his wife out in the backyard one day. He was wearing swimming trunks, and she was in one of those sun suits I told you about. Disgraceful.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, it seems to me that he had a scar on his leg. Yes, just above the knee. I think it was the right leg.
No, what I meant, ma'am, was does he have any marks on his face, on his forehead, or on his chin?
No marks.
Oh.
Oh, wait a minute. The other day I noticed he had a cut over his right eyebrow. Looked like he'd been in a fight. Probably a drunken brawl.
Joe?
Yeah, anything?
Talked to Cunningham. He checked the name. Looks like it might be the same one.
What's that?
They paroled a Harry Q. Field from San Quentin. Description checks out.
When did they parole him?
December 10th last year. Did a term for robbery.
You are listening to Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action.
Chesterfield was first to name its ingredients. Ingredients that give you the best possible smoke. Now, Chesterfield is first to give you scientific facts in support of smoking.
Nose, throat, and accessory organs not adversely affected by smoking Chesterfields. First such report published about any cigarette.
A responsible consulting organization reports a study by a competent medical specialist and staff on the effects of smoking Chesterfields. For 6 months, a group of men and women smoked only Chesterfield. 10 to 40 a day, their normal amount. 45% of the group have smoked Chesterfields from 1 to 30 years, for an average of 10 years each. At the beginning and end of the 6 months, each smoker was given a thorough examination, including x-rays, and covering the sinuses, nose, ears, and throat. After these examinations, the medical specialist stated,
It is my opinion that the ears, nose, throat, and accessory organs of all participating subjects examined by me were not adversely affected in the 6 months period by smoking the cigarettes provided.
remember this report, and buy Chesterfields either way you like them, regular or king size. Premium quality Chesterfields, and much milder.
January 28th, 4:30 p.m. We called the office and told them of the latest developments. Tom Ashford called the local FBI office, and arrangements were made to take Harry Field and his wife into custody. A further check on him was made through R&I, and we found that his record listed 4 arrests for armed robbery with only 1 conviction. He spent 4.5 years in San Quentin before he'd gotten his parole. The name of his brother was also checked. He had no previous record. The car in Field's driveway matched the one used by the bandit. 5:12 p.m. The men from robbery arrived, and the plan for taking Field was formulated. The working detective knows that to successfully apprehend an armed and dangerous suspect, he must act quickly and employ the one big advantage on his side, the element of surprise. By moving rapidly before the suspect becomes aware of any attempt to apprehend him, the officer, in many cases, can not only avoid bloodshed, but can often have a better chance of preserving any and all physical evidence necessary to prosecute the suspect. 5:36 p.m. We were ready to move in.
All set, Joe. The men are around back.
Good. No indication he knows what's up. The lights are still on.
Let's hope it stays that way.
Officer? Mr. Friday?
The Jenkins woman.
Yeah.
Officer!
Ma'am, would you mind keeping your voice down? We don't want Field to know we're here.
Well, I'm not talking loud, but there's something I want you to know.
Well, it'd be better if you went back into your house, ma'am. Just stay there till this is over, will you?
That's sort of what I want to tell you about.
Ma'am?
Well, I got to thinking, and I figured maybe Harry wasn't too bad a sort after all.
We don't want to be rude here, but I think it'd be better if you go back in your house. All this talking's liable to let him know that we're here.
But that's just it. I don't want anybody hurt, so I called him.
What?
I called him. Told him he didn't have a chance to give himself up.
Unknowingly, Mrs. Jenkins had made it impossible to take the suspect without violence. By warning him, she had put him on the alert. We had no alternative now but to apprehend him as best we could. 5:40 p.m.
Caleb and Crowley are covering the back. Other fellows are covering the side windows.
All right, let's go.
What do you want?
Open up. Come on, Field. We want to talk to you.
Yeah, I'll be there in a minute. Take it easy.
Open up, Field. Police officers.
All right, I'll be there in a minute.
Let's go. He's stalling.
All right. It's locked. Come on, let's hit it.
All right.
All right, stand
Hey,
still,
what are you
mister.
doing? The fireplace, Joe.
I'll get it.
Guy's on parole. You cops won't leave him alone. I'm straight.
Bag's full of money, Joe. Partially burned.
My money, I could do what I want with it.
You bet you can. Hands behind you. Come on.
I'll shake him down.
All right.
He's clean, Joe.
You got him, huh?
Yeah, we got part of the loot, too. He was trying to burn it.
Carly and I'll shake the rest of the house.
Right, Mac. All right, how about it, Field? We got the money, people who can identify you. Car parked in the driveway, it fits the description. You've been through this before. You got out of queue on December 10th. You pulled this job on January 21st. Is that right?
Like I said, I fell once. I did my time.
Joe?
Yeah, Mac.
Found his wife hiding in the back bedroom. Found a sawed-off shotgun.
All right, let's get him out of here.
Say, Frank?
Yeah?
Message came in for you before I left the office. Forgot about it.
Say who it was from?
No, I didn't leave a name. Here's a number. Why don't you phone right away?
I'll call it now.
We can take Field in.
Good, Mac. Thanks. We'll be right behind you. We're going to talk to his wife anyway.
Okay, Field, let's go.
All right, come on, Frank. Come on. Hollywood 24709. I don't know anybody with that number. Well, the simple way to find out is to call him. It's kind of late. Well, go ahead and call him anyway. Yeah, here's the phone.
I'll check with you later, Joe. Frank.
Right, Tom. We'll check you.
Bye, Tom.
Come on, let's go.
I want to use the phone.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
You got a dime?
Just a minute. Yeah.
I'll leave it for the call. Wonder who it is. Hello. What place is this? Oh. Well, this is Frank Smith. Were you looking for me? Yeah. Yeah, he does. Oh. Yeah, that's the right address. Yeah. I should have known.
Well, what's that?
Call from the Murphy House Cleaning Company.
What do they want?
My brother-in-law. Called him in to clean up our house.
Yeah, what about it?
Now they want to know where to send the bill.
The story you have just heard was true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On February 19th, trial was held in federal court, City of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
Now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you, George Fenneman. Before a case goes to trial, the working detective has to get all the evidence. He interviews witnesses, takes statements, checks and rechecks. He tries to get all the facts. As a smoker, you too should be interested in facts. You should know Chesterfield is first to give you scientific data in support of smoking. Nose, throat, and accessory organs not adversely affected by smoking Chesterfield. The first such report ever published about any cigarette. Remember that. And next time, buy Chesterfield. Get 'em regular or king size. You'll find premium quality Chesterfields give you the best possible smoke.
Harry Q. Field was tried and convicted of violation of the federal bank robbery statute. He received a sentence of 20 years in a federal penitentiary, McNeil Island, Washington. The investigation showed his wife, Dora Field, was not implicated in any way in the robbery. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors, Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, Sergeant Vance Frazier. Heard tonight were Ben Alexander, Whit Connor, Jack Crucian. Script by John Robinson. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
Sound off for Chesterfield. Either way you like 'em, regular or king size, Chesterfield gives you the best possible smoke. Much milder Chesterfield.
Chesterfield has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Tonight it's Barry Craig, confidential investigator on NBC.
Sound off for Chesterfield. Chesterfield, the only cigarette in America to give you premium quality in both regular and king size, brings you Dragnet.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to homicide detail. You receive a call that a fatal accident has occurred at a Hollywood motion picture studio. Your job? Investigate. Here's what a leading tobacco publication and the nation's press have had to say about king-size Chesterfields.
U.S. Tobacco Journal, Atlanta, Georgia. Chesterfield King Size is going strong. One jobber reordered twice this week, in addition to his regular order.
And the Herald Tribune reported, king size is a sellout. Extra supplies of Chesterfields rush to dealers here.
The reason for king-size Chesterfield's amazing success is this. All king-size cigarettes give you quantity, but only Chesterfield king-size gives you quantity plus quality, premium quality.
That means Chesterfield king size contains tobaccos of better quality and higher price than any other king-size cigarette. The same fine tobacco as in regular Chesterfield. Enough more of this tobacco to give you more than a 1/5 longer smoke.
So remember, Chesterfield is the only cigarette to give you premium quality in both regular and king size.
Buy 'em either way you like 'em. Chesterfield gives you the best possible smoke. Much milder.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Friday, August 5th. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of homicide detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Lorman. My name's Friday. It was 2:25 p.m. when we got to the Winton Picture Studios. Stage 2.
Better check the guard over there.
Yeah.
Yes, help you?
Police officers, about the accident, where do we find Mr. Adams?
Oh, yeah, he said look for you. Let's see, I saw him around here a minute ago. Oh, there he is, over there by that office set. See him, the one in the blue suit?
One with the gray hair?
Yeah, that's him.
Thank you very much.
I know. You can check with the office. If they can come up with an idea, I'll go for it. All I know is that we got to have this turkey finished. Yeah, something you want?
Yes, you Gerald Adams?
That's right.
Police officers. My ID card.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Friday, huh?
Yes, sir. It's my partner, Frank Smith.
Yeah, how you doing?
Hi.
How much you know about this?
Well, doctor down at Georgia Street told us that Henry Wilson had an accident. Is that right?
Yeah, he was a director. At least he thought he was.
I wonder if we could see where the accident happened.
Yeah, sure. Over in stage 1, just across the way. Hold on a minute, will you? I'd like to talk to Sam for a minute, try to get things organized here, get things moving.
Yeah, go right ahead.
Just wait here. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Quite a place, huh, Joe?
Yeah, a lot of room. It's a big stage, isn't it?
Yeah. You know, all this, the average person doesn't stop to think about it.
What's that?
You know, a fellow lays out 85 cents to see a movie. Never thinks about all the people, all the equipment that goes into making it possible.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to keep you waiting. Terrible thing. We're 12 days behind schedule now. This will probably knock a couple more days off. Exec's going to scream like an eagle when he sees what this opus is costing. Here, right through the story.
Right.
One's right over there.
Yes, sir. Wonder if you'd mind filling us in on this thing.
Yeah, sure. What can I do to help?
Well, if you can tell us how the body was found, who found it, how the accident occurred.
Well, as near as I can figure, it must have happened about 12:10, 12:15. Crew had broken for lunch. Most of them were over at the commissary. I came down from the office and wanted to talk to Henry about tomorrow's schedule. Wanted to try to change some of the shots, make it more simple. He wasn't in the lunchroom, so I went ahead and had lunch.
Uh-huh.
About, I think it was about 12:40, Al Evans, the greenery man, came in and told me he'd found Henry's body. A lamp had fallen on him. Darn fool yelled it so loud that everybody in the place heard him.
I see.
Well, I came right over. First, it looked like Henry was dead. He'd lost a lot of blood. Felt his pulse. Found out he was still alive. That's when I had the ambulance called. Here we are. Right,
Thank you.
Over here by the house set.
Yeah.
At the time those big doors were open, the green men were putting in the shrubbery here. After I found out about the accident, I had the doors closed so people wouldn't be roaming in and out.
Are the doors usually left open?
Usually are. When there's no shooting on the stage, when we're using it, they're closed.
Mm-hmm.
Now, right here is where he was found. You can see the lamp, but the sun arc must have hit him right about here. Poor guy.
Yes, sir. Is that where the lamp fell from, up there?
Yeah. Yeah, there you can see on the scaffolding where it was. Between the babies, there's space there.
Who puts the lamps up there?
Well, it's in the gaffer's department. He's in charge of them.
Wonder if we could talk to him.
Yeah, sure. He's over on 2. I'll call him.
Thank you. Big lamp, huh? Yeah. Sure smashed up in it. Gee, that thing must weigh a couple 100 pounds. Yeah, look up there. It's quite a drop. Figure it's about 40 feet up there. What do you think? Oh, yeah, that anyway.
He's on his way over.
What's your position here, Mr. Adams?
I'm production supervisor, unit manager. A lot of names for it. I try to take care of the running of the company as far as this one picture is concerned, make out the budgets, work on the schedule, the directors, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Really hard to say just what my job is, so I do a little of everything.
Yes, sir.
You fellas from homicide?
Yes, sir, that's right.
You think that there's something wrong here? Maybe Henry's accident wasn't an accident or something?
Well, it's just that in any death where there isn't a doctor in attendance at the time of death, we have to look into it. It's just routine.
I thought for a minute you might think there was something fishy about this. That's all we need. Have murder on the set. Might as well fold up.
Oh, hi, Jerry. You want to see me?
Yeah, Dick, these officers like to ask you a couple of questions.
Sure.
This is Mr. Friday, Mr. Smith, Dick Patterson, our gap.
How are you?
Hi, Mr. Patterson.
What do you want to know?
Well, Mr. Adams here tells us that you were in charge of installing those lamps. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Are you trying to say I had anything to do with causing Henry's death?
Oh, no, sir. We didn't say that.
Well, what are you saying?
Well, we're just trying to get the facts straight.
No need to get upset.
Well, what are you talking about? These cops come in here and try to make out I didn't put those lamps in right?
That's not what they said.
Well, don't you think I feel bad enough? Henry was a good friend of mine. We've been together a long time. I don't know how the lamp got loose.
I wonder if we could look at its mounting. That'd be all right?
Sure. I've wanted to get up there anyway, look at it myself. But Jerry here said not to touch anything till you guys got here.
Okay. How do we get up there?
There's a ladder back here at the rear of the stage.
Uh-huh.
I can't understand it, Mr. Friday. I've been hanging lamps for a long time. It's going on 20 years. First time anything like this ever happened. Oh, here it is. Just going up.
Okay.
Hey, watch your step. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we can get there down this way.
They use these walks to hang the lights on, do they?
Yeah, you got to be awfully careful, though. Watch your step. It's a long way down.
Yeah.
Once in a while, if you want a real high shot of the scene, we lift the camera up here. Mostly, though, it's used just for lights.
Uh-huh.
Here it is. Now you can see there where the light was.
Yes, sir. Oh, appreciate it if you didn't touch anything. You just stand back there.
Sure.
Yeah. The base of the lamp went through this hole there, huh?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, look at the one over there, same way.
Yeah. You have anything else securing the lights once they're tied down?
No, sir. Once they're in place, the weight of the thing itself will hold it.
In other words, you drill this hole and you place the lamp in the hole, and it could. Well, it doesn't look like the wood is chipped, does it?
No, these scaffolds are pretty new. This stage hasn't been up more than a year.
Mm-hmm. Well, from what you can see, Mr. Patterson, can you figure out how the lamp might have fallen? How it could have broken loose?
Oh, I'll tell you, officer. Bob, that's my best boy. Bob and I were over here last night checking the lights on the set. Now, I didn't actually get up here myself, but Bob did. Now, he's a good boy. He's been around a long time, doesn't make mistakes like this.
Mm-hmm.
He secured this lamp himself. Now, I know it was right.
Well, then, have you got any idea how it might have fallen?
None at all. Matter of fact, I don't think it did.
Sir?
I don't think it did fall. I think it was dropped.
3:15 p.m. Frank and I went back to stage 2. We talked to Bob Murphy, the best boy, and got the same story from him. He said that he'd secured the lamp in position himself and that as far as he was concerned, it could not have fallen. He agreed with Dick Patterson that the lamp must have been removed from its place and either dropped or was thrown at Wilson. At this point, there was the possibility that the death was not an accident. We asked the unit manager to assign one of the studio police to guard the scene of the accident, and then we called the crime lab. Dean Bergman lifted several clean prints from the broken lens of the lamp. Bob Murphy's fingerprints were taken, and they matched those found on the lamp. There were no other prints on the glass. The men from the crime lab found a small piece of blue cloth on the mounting of the lamp. Lee Jones put it in an envelope and gave it to me. At 4:20 p.m., we talked to Gerald Adams in one of the portable dressing rooms.
I just can't believe it. There were a lot of people in town that didn't like Henry, but I don't think there was anyone that'd kill him.
Was there anyone in the company that he had any disagreements with, would you know?
What do you mean?
Well, anyone he had quarrels with, arguments, would you know?
Well, I guess Sam would be the most likely. They argued all the time.
Sam?
Yeah, Sam Phillips. He's the first assistant director. Real talented guy. Been at it a long time. He and Henry worked together for a long time. They were always arguing. I guess if you didn't know them, you might think they were serious, but here in the company, we all knew. We understood.
Understood what?
Well, Sam's been in Hollywood almost since it was. He began as a prop man, worked his way up to be a cutter. Then I guess about 15 years ago, he went into directing.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to get a picture of his own pretty soon. He'll do well, too. Real talent.
What about these arguments, Mr. Adams, between Wilson and Phillips?
Well, to understand him, you'd have to know Henry. He was one of the first directors in pictures.
Came out here from New York even before Sam did. Really old school. He drove special cars, most of them pure white. Had all his clothes designed and made. He wore a cape while he was on the set, Referred to himself as Wilson. Wilson thinks this, Wilson thinks that. If you didn't know him, you'd take him seriously. Once you did that, you were in trouble.
Mm-hmm. Were you ever present when one of these arguments took place?
Yeah, matter of fact, they had one yesterday.
That's so?
Yeah, over in the commissary. I thought for a minute it was going to be pretty serious, and then I realized it was all a gag. Everyone else did, too.
Well, what was it about?
Well, like I told you, the picture's 12 days over now. A lot of tension on the stage. Everyone's pretty edgy.
Yeah.
Well, Sam's a great practical joker. Always trying to cook up something.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time, the jokes do the job. They give everybody a laugh. They all feel a little better. Well, day before yesterday, Sam got one of the set dressers and took a cement deer. The kind people used to have on their front lawns?
Yeah, I think I know the kind you mean.
Well, the two of them carted this deer down the parking lot and put it in the back seat of Henry's car. Planted it so the deer was looking right at Henry when he got in the driver's seat. The thing weighed about 250 pounds. Once they got it in, Henry couldn't get it out. He tried that night. He couldn't make it.
He didn't think it was very funny, did he?
No. He had to leave it in the car all night. Drove home with it. Next morning, when he checked in the lot, he tried to get it out again. While he was trying, the horns on the thing tore up the upholstery in his car, really ripped it up to pieces.
Oh, I'll be darned.
Well, finally, Henry got a hammer and broke the thing up. Smashed it in little pieces and threw them all out of the car. Left them right in front of the scene dock.
Yeah. Was that when he and Phillips had the argument?
No. Yesterday morning when Wilson got on the set, he wasn't saying anything to anybody. All the crew knew about the deer, and they were all waiting for him to say something about it, but he didn't. He just drove the crew through the morning setups. The argument took place at lunchtime.
Yeah.
Henry waited until the whole crew was having lunch, and then he stormed into the cafe. He walked over to Sam, really read him off, called him a child. He said that if he'd spend a little more time doing his work and less time playing around, the picture wouldn't be so far over scheduled. Really made him look like a fool. Argument went on for about 15 minutes.
Well, what was Sam doing all this time?
Well, he just sat there, and then finally he got up and grabbed Henry, kind of shook him, said he'd never been talked to like that before, and it wasn't going to happen again. Said he'd kill Henry next time he did it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Henry looked pretty scared. Sam's a big man, I think if he made up his mind to do it, he could have broken Henry in two.
Mm-hmm.
Sam looked at Henry for a minute, and then he laughed. Then Henry started to laugh, too, and then the whole place, I guess it's like laughing in a horror picture. Anything to break the tension. Looked real tight. Even I wasn't sure it was a joke,
You said that Sam lifted this deer into the car by himself?
Well, I don't know if he did it by himself, but I know he could lift it without help.
How much did you say that deer weighed?
Oh, about 250 pounds. Why?
Well, I was just thinking. That's about what that big lamp weighed, isn't it? 3:45 p.m. Frank called the office and had R&I run the names Sam Phillips and Henry Wilson. Sam Phillips had been arrested once for disturbing the peace. He'd gotten drunk in a nightclub out on Sunset Boulevard and gotten into a fight. The report said that it had taken both of the arresting officers to subdue him and take him into custody. There was no record on Henry Wilson. We continued to talk to the crew. Each one of them told us about the arguments between Phillips and Wilson, but most of the people we talked to didn't share Adam's idea that the arguments were just a joke. The script girl told us that on at least 3 occasions, members of the crew had to keep the men apart, and that Sam Phillips had said he'd kill Wilson. We asked each of them if they'd seen anyone enter or leave the stage at approximately the time of the accident. None of them had. They explained that Wilson had been trying to pick up time, and that as soon as they'd finished one shot, he was yelling at them to get ready for the next one. 4:22 p.m. We talked to Sam Phillips.
Sure, we had some beefs. None of them were serious, though.
Well, how about this fight you had in the commissary yesterday?
You mean the thing about the deer?
Yeah?
Well, that didn't mean anything. Oh, I admit I was pretty sore for a minute, but right away I knew Henry wasn't serious. Even if he was, I guess I can understand it. Must have made him pretty sore to see his car ripped up.
Did you lift that deer into Wilson's car by yourself?
Yeah, I had one of the set dressers with me. He kind of steered the thing in. Sure looked kind of funny.
Mm-hmm. You sure you weren't over on stage 1 today?
Positive.
You got any idea of how that light got loose and fell?
No, I've been in the business a long time. That's the first time I've ever known a lamp to fall. They've been tipped over when on a floor stand, and I've seen them broken when a set is moved. I've never seen one drop like that.
Do you have any idea how this could have happened then?
Not the slightest.
You're a first assistant, is that right?
Yeah.
How long you been in this job?
Oh, I guess about 15 years now. I was a cutter for a while. Took a big cut in salary to go into directing. Figured it'd be a way to get a picture of my own. A lot of directors come from the cutting department.
That so?
Yeah, they do. I didn't care much for it, though. I like to be on the set. See things happen. I like the activity.
Mm-hmm. Did Wilson know that you wanted to be a director?
Yeah, he said that if I stayed with him, he'd try to get the producers to give me a picture. Matter of fact, I kind of thought I might get this one.
Is that right?
Yeah. When I was in the pre-planning stages, they hadn't assigned a man to it yet, and Jerry and I both wanted it.
Jerry? You mean Adams?
Yeah, he wants to be a director, too. It's funny, I guess everyone wants to be a director. Jerry's been trying for a long time. I don't think he'll ever make it, though.
All right.
Yeah, he's too valuable as a unit manager.
Yeah. Was Adams very upset when he didn't get this picture?
No, I was pretty sore. I told Jerry about it. He just sat back and said that's the way things are and that it doesn't pay to fight the front office.
Mm-hmm. Did you say anything to Wilson about how you felt?
Yeah, I told him. Said I thought it was real unfair. Said I thought he could have done something about it.
What did he say?
He told me to be patient. My time would come.
Do you know if there was anybody on the lot who might have wanted to kill Wilson?
No. Oh, there might have been some people who didn't like him very much, but you run into that in almost every picture. You know, little jealousies.
That right?
Yeah. You really think he was killed, huh?
Well, it could have been, yeah.
Sure hard to believe. We've been making pictures about this for a long time. You know, murders. But now that it's right here, really on the set, it makes you feel you can just check ahead in the script and find out who the killer is. Read about the ending. Kind of seems just like another picture.
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah, come in.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know you had somebody here with you, officer.
That's all right, Mr. Patterson. What is it?
I wonder if I could talk to you?
Sure.
Well, it's kind of private.
Well, if you're through with me, I'll get back to work.
No, you just wait. I'll be right back. Here, we can step out here.
Okay.
Now, what is it, Mr. Patterson?
Well, I feel like a real idiot. I should have remembered it when you talked to me before.
What's that, sir?
Well, I remember just before the company broke for lunch, Sam gave me a note. Said I should give it to Wilson.
Mm-hmm. Did you see what it was?
No, it was folded up. Had Wilson's name on it. I didn't pay much attention to it.
What, did you give it to him?
Yeah, he read it, and then he said he had to leave the set for a few minutes. Said he'd be right back.
He left the stage then?
Yeah.
Where was Sam at this time?
Well, I don't know. You see, he gave me the note just outside the door to the stage. I was bringing in some more lights, and right after he handed it to me, he left.
Uh-huh.
Headed for stage one.
You are listening to Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action.
Chesterfield was first to name its ingredients. Ingredients that give you the best possible smoke. Now, Chesterfield is first to give you scientific facts in support of smoking.
Nose, throat, and accessory organs not adversely affected by smoking Chesterfields. First such report published about any cigarette.
A responsible consulting organization reports a study by a competent medical specialist and staff on the effects of smoking Chesterfields. For 6 months, a group of men and women smoked only Chesterfield. 10 to 40 a day, their normal amount. 45% of the group have smoked Chesterfields from 1 to 30 years, for an average of 10 years each. At the beginning and end of the 6 months, each smoker was given a thorough examination, including x-rays, and covering the sinuses, nose, ears, and throat. After these examinations, the medical specialist stated,
"It is my opinion that the ears, nose, throat, and accessory organs of all participating subjects examined by me were not adversely affected in the 6 months period by smoking the cigarettes provided."
Remember this report, and buy Chesterfields either way you like them, regular or king size. Premium quality Chesterfields, and much milder.
We talked to Gerald Adams and had 2 of the studio police start a search for the note. Frank called Georgia Street Receiving Hospital and asked if the note had been found on the body of Henry Wilson. The doctor told us that he didn't know and that the dead man's personal effects had been turned over to the coroner. We called them and they told us that there was nothing of that description found. While the search for the missing note went on, we continued to talk to Sam Phillips.
The whole idea is crazy. I told you I wasn't near stage 1 at all this morning.
How about the note?
I don't remember any note.
Well, the gaffer says you gave it to him. Told him to give it to Wilson.
He's crazy. If I had a note for Wilson, I'd have given it to him myself. I'm with him all day. I've got no reason to have someone else deliver messages for me.
Well, then you deny giving him the note, is that right?
Well, certainly.
All right, mister, we'll let you know just how you stand. We got a witness who says you were seen going to stage 1. A couple of minutes later, a man is killed on the same stage. You admit that you've had arguments with Wilson. Seems like you might have had a motive for killing him.
I told you I didn't go near the place. Hey, wait a minute.
Yeah?
I know what's happened.
What's that?
Well, when Dick told you he saw me heading for stage 1, he probably saw me heading for the office. I have to pass near the stage to get there. Matter of fact, I even cut through it once in a while.
Did you happen to cut through it today?
No, at least I don't think so.
That's pretty important that you remember.
I'm trying. Let's see. I know what you guys think. I don't know how to show you that you're wrong.
Well, can you come up with an explanation for the note?
Well, I'm trying to tell you I don't know. Yeah, that's what he's talking about.
What?
I did give Dick a note.
Yeah.
I told him to give it to Henry.
What was in it?
Well, I don't know. I didn't even read it.
Well, then you didn't write it?
No, I found it in my desk when I was up in the office this morning. I figured that someone had put it there thinking I'd see Henry and give it to him.
What time did you find it?
Let's see, I guess it was about 9 or so. Guess I put it in my pocket and then forgot all about it. And just before I went up to the office to tell him that we were breaking for lunch, I remembered it. I gave it to Dick and told him to hand it to Henry. That's what the note's all about. Right after that, I went upstairs.
Mm-hmm. Do you always tell the office that you're broken for lunch?
Yeah, most of the time I phone, but today I went up myself. I've been kind of expecting a letter from my family back east, and I thought it might be in, so I wanted to check the morning mail.
Got any idea who might have put the note on your desk?
No, I just found it, tucked away in the corner of the blotter. I really didn't look at it. I was in a hurry. Wanted to finish lunch so I could get back on the set. We have a lot of work to do this afternoon.
Did you see Wilson after you left the stage?
No, I looked for him at the commissary, but he didn't show up. And the greenery man came in and said that he had the accident.
Uh-huh. You recognize the handwriting on that note?
No, all I saw was the name, that it was for Henry. Come to think of it, though, I do kind of remember that it was familiar handwriting, thinking I'd seen it someplace before.
Do you remember where?
No, I wish I could. Have you found it yet?
No. Wilson must have dropped it someplace here, though. It wasn't on his body. I wonder if you'd take a look at this.
What's that?
Well, the crime lab crew found this on the stage, caught on the lamp that killed Wilson.
Looks like the material they make suits out of.
Yeah, from inside the cuff. See? See the little zigzag mark where it's been cut?
Uh-huh.
You ever see this type of material before, Sam?
Let me see. Looks like it came from a blue suit, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Good material. Sure an odd color. Yeah, I think I've seen a suit like this. I think I saw it this morning.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah, sure. Jerry Adams was wearing it.
6:30 p.m. We called Gerald Adams into the dressing room.
Were you on stage one at all before the body was found?
No, sir. Why do you think I had something to do with it?
Well, we're just trying to get the facts here.
Well, I want to help, but it seems to me that you'd spend your time a little better if you talked to Sam, the note and all. Still deny giving it to Henry?
No, he says that he gave it to him.
Well, then there you are. I guess that argument was a lot more serious than we thought, huh?
That's a nice-looking suit you got on, Mr. Adams. New?
Yeah, this is the first day I've worn it. Present from my wife. Pretty blue. I don't usually care for blue, like brown gray mostly. Wife's been trying to get me to wear blue, so she got this suit for me.
Yeah, looks like it's made pretty well there.
Yeah, it is. She had my tailors put it together. I didn't even go down for a fitting. Needs a few things done to it, like the shoulders pulled in a little. I don't much care for padding the shoulders,
Mm-hmm. You mind if I look at the cuffs? I've always had trouble with the cuffs on my suits. You can see here how they've worn. It must be in the way they're made.
No, I don't think so. That looks like it came from your shoes rubbing against it.
You mind if I look?
No, here.
Yeah, it sure is beautiful material.
Yeah. She sure got good taste. Of course, it should be. She paid $180 for it.
Wow. You got a little tear here on the cuff. Inside. Have you noticed that?
No. Let's see.
Right there.
Oh, yeah. How about that? I got to get that fixed. A little piece torn right out, huh?
Uh-huh.
What did you do when you found Wilson's body?
What do you mean?
Well, what were your movements?
Well, it'll be kind of hard to explain. If you want to walk over there, I can show you.
All right. Let's go.
Company's broken. I told him to wait up in the office. Figured you might want to talk to him some more.
Fine.
Here, I'll get the door. Sure a beautiful night, huh?
Yeah, it is.
Best time of the day in the valley. After the sun starts to go down, everybody's always kidding about the cool breeze that comes up, Really does out here. I know the wife and I practically live out of doors during the summer months.
Is that right?
Yeah, we both love the valley. Right, here we are. That's the work lights on. You want me to get the others?
No, there's enough light.
Okay.
Now, if you'd show us just what happened when you found the body.
Well, I came in that door, the big one there. It was open.
Was there anybody on the stage then?
No, not right away. The greenery man came in right after me, and then Jack the guard from the other stage.
Uh-huh.
And like I said, the body was lying about here. And the lamp was there. You saw that when you were here.
Yes, sir, we did. Did you go near the lamp, touch it in any way?
No, I didn't. The only concern was Henry. That's all I thought about. I knelt down to feel Henry's pulse, and then I told Jack to go and phone the ambulance.
Yeah?
Then I had the doors closed. I waited until a lot of policemen got here, and then I went back to the other stage.
Mm-hmm. Our crime lab found a piece of cloth caught on that lamp. Matches the tear in the cuff of your suit.
Can't understand how it could have gotten there.
What if we could look through your pocket?
Why? What's that going to prove?
We just want to take a look. It won't hurt anything.
Well, maybe it won't, but I don't see why you're asking me all these questions. Seems to me that Sam's your killer. Why don't you talk to him? Make him tell you why he did it.
All right, come on. Let's see what you got in your pockets. Take everything out, put it on the table.
All right. Here's my wallet.
Well, you better take the money out of it.
Okay.
Now, let me see the wallet.
All right, here.
Just a second, Mr. Adams. What'd you drop over there? Right there. Looks like the note we've been looking for, Joe.
What's it say?
Wilson, I have to see you. Something's come up. Meet me on 1 when you break for lunch. It's private. Signed, Jerry.
How about this, Adam?
Oh, I don't know anything about it.
Well, maybe we better talk downtown.
Going on place with you. Watch him, Joe.
He's going up that ladder. All right, give it up, Adams. There's no place to go up there.
Stay away from me.
Come on, Adams, give it up. He's not coming down.
Only can't stay up there long.
Why don't you shoot me? I'm not going to do what you say. Go ahead and shoot me.
What for? You're not going anyplace. How about it, Adams? Why'd you do it?
He had it coming. All his life stepping on people. This picture was mine. They told me it was. And he took it away from me just because he wanted to be a big man. This was my picture. He took it.
All right, come on down.
I'm going to stay up here.
You suit yourself. We got lots of time, Adams.
Can't you just go away and leave me alone?
You know better than that. You killed a man. Now, come on. You either come down or we'll come up. What do you think, Joe?
Yeah, give him a minute. He wants to be a director.
Yeah.
Let him figure out the ending.
The story you have just heard was true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On February 17th, trial was held in Department 89, Superior Court of the State of California, in and for the County of Los Angeles. In a moment, the results of that trial.
Now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Friends, in a sense, every smoker is his own judge and jury when it comes to selecting a cigarette. Now, you've heard the facts in our case for Chesterfield, and I'd like to sum them up for you. Chesterfield, the first and only cigarette to give you premium quality in both regular and king size. Chesterfield, the first and only cigarette to name all its ingredients. And now, Chesterfield gives you scientific facts in support of smoking. You heard the report read earlier. Nose, throat, and accessory organs not adversely affected by smoking Chesterfields. First such report ever published about any cigarette. Consider these facts carefully. I'm sure you'll want to change to Chesterfields. Regular or king size, Chesterfield gives you the best possible smoke. And much milder.
Gerald S. Adams was tried and convicted of murder in the first degree. He was sentenced to life imprisonment in the state penitentiary, San Quentin, California. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors, Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, Sergeant Vance Brasher. Heard tonight were Ben Alexander, Whit Connor, Jack Crucian. Script by John Robinson. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
Sound off for Chesterfields. Either way you like them, regular or king size, Chesterfield gives you the best possible smoke. Much milder Chesterfield.
Chesterfield has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
This is NBC, the nation's headquarters for election news.
Sound off for Chesterfield. Chesterfield, only cigarette in America to give you premium quality in both regular and king size, brings you Dragnet.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to homicide detail. Naval intelligence tells you that 2 Marines have been picked up with the shore patrol. They're reported sick. 1 is in critical condition. Foul play is suspected. Your job? Investigate. Here's what leading tobacco publications have had to say about king-size Chesterfield.
U.S. Tobacco Journal, Atlanta, Georgia. Chesterfield king size is going strong. One jobber reordered twice this week in addition to his regular order.
And the Chicago Weekly, Tobacco Leaf, reports more calls for Chesterfield king-size cigarettes than for most brands being marketed.
The reason for king-size Chesterfield's amazing success is this. All king-size cigarettes give you quantity, but only Chesterfield king-size gives you quantity plus quality. Premium quality.
That means Chesterfield king-size contains tobaccos of better quality and higher price than any other king-size cigarette. The same fine tobacco as in regular Chesterfields. Enough more of this tobacco to give you over a fifth longer smoke.
So remember, Chesterfield is the only cigarette to give you premium quality in both regular and king size.
Buy 'em either way you like 'em. Chesterfield gives you the best possible smoke. Much milder.
How he'd won a whole flock of citations in Korea. Told us all about the time he'd spent in Japan. First we thought he was just throwing a bunch of coconuts at us, but we'd ask him about places in Korea and things you could only know if you was there. He'd come up with the answers all right, but even with all that, there was something that just didn't ring true.
Yeah.
Anyway, long about 8 or 8:30 that night, Stubby got in a thrash with the bartender, something about the price of the drink, so he suggested we go up to his place and get a jug, and drink up there. Well, I wasn't too hot for the idea, but Ed said we had nothing to lose, and we didn't have a sack for the night, and there wasn't much dough left, so we shoved off with him.
Where did Stubby live?
A hotel down on 5th. I'll tell you how to find the place.
Same place you were picked up in?
Yeah.
We got the address then.
Oh, okay.
Well, what happened when you got Stubby's room?
Well, we cracked the jug, sat around drinking for a while, and then Ed and I went to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
I tell you, the next morning we had the biggest hangovers in the entire United States and Canada, both of us. We felt miserable. Ed started beefing about the cheap booze Stubby'd rung in on us. That's when he tried to tout us on them pills.
What pills are those?
Oh, them things supposed to relieve hangovers.
Oh, you mean the kind they sell in drugstores?
Oh, no, not them. Stubby told us about that one. He'd come back to the States. He'd stood some duty in a hospital and said that while he was there, he got them pills. Said there was a special prescription, that they was great for head shrinking. He wanted us to try them.
Did you?
Well, no, not right away. He kept after us, though, kidding us about being big, tough Marines with a hangover. And then he took one of the pills, leastwise we thought he did. So Ed and I figured then we didn't have anything to lose.
You took one of these hangover pills then, did you?
Yeah, we both did.
Mm-hmm. What happened then?
Well, nothing right away. Stubby said it'd take a little time for it to take effect. We got up and started to get dressed. Ed and I thought we'd better get back to the base, We'd probably be in enough trouble as it was without worrying about a hangover.
Yeah. You left the room?
No, we was just getting our stuff together, and Ed took sick. Said he had awful pain in his stomach, like a cramp, We asked Stubby if the pill could have caused it. He said no. Must have been the booze. Well, right about then, I was getting ready to mop up the place with this Stubby. I figured sure he'd given us a Mickey. I couldn't figure why, though. Then it hit me.
That pill, huh?
Yeah, I guess so. I think it was Saturday morning. A couple of buddies told us about a joint up there where we could have some fun.
Yeah.
Well, we head up there, and nice little place that hour of the morning, I guess about 10:30. Well, we start in to drink. It gets pretty foggy after that. Like little parts in a jigsaw, You sort of see a little bit of everything, but the whole picture ain't there.
Yeah.
Well, I remember we hung around the place for 2 days, and then it all really goes black. The next thing I remember, we woke up in some flea bag. I remember looking at the calendar on the wall. We was already a couple days AWOL. Ed and I talked about what we should do.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get to trying to think up an excuse for the CO for being AWOL. With our CO ain't easy. He's had experts try. Ed says he'll figure out something, so we start for the bus depot, get back to base. On the way, we pass this bar, and Ed says, well, maybe we ought to stop and have one more for the road, so we do. And I don't remember much for a couple more days.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember once we stopped and watched the guy get tattooed. Ed and I got talking about it, whether or not we should have it done. Finally, we figured it was kind of kid stuff, so we didn't. I remember that because it was right after we left the tattoo place, we went to this bar where we met Stubby.
Well, this is the fellow that you were talking about?
Yeah, it's him.
And you met him in a bar?
Uh-huh, yeah. Ed and I was sitting there trying to figure out what we was going to do, We were pretty broke by this time, and then, we was over 2 weeks AWOL. Anyway, sliced it, we had big trouble.
Yeah.
Well, we walked into this place. It was about 4:30 or 5 in the afternoon. At least near as I can tell, that's about what time it was. The whole deal gets kind of foggy. We sat down at this bar and ordered a drink, and just sitting there minding our own business, trying to figure what we ought to do. And then this stubby joker comes up, sits down next to Ed, brings a drink with him.
He was in the bar when you came in, is that right?
Yeah, well, at least I think so. I didn't pay much attention, but he had a drink when he come up to Ed and me.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, he got to talk about the Corps, and next thing we know, he's setting up the drinks.
Mm-hmm.
The way we was fixed, as long as he wanted to buy, we wasn't going to argue.
Mm-hmm. Did they seem to know this stubby in the bar?
Yeah, a girl who waits on tables called him my name.
All right, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, well, this stubby kept going on about how he liked the Corps and...
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Tuesday, July 10th. It was hot in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out a homicide detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Lorman. My name's Friday. It was 7:58 a.m. when I got to room 42. Homicide.
Morning, Joe.
Hi.
Just get in?
Yeah.
Anything in the book?
I'm looking.
What's the matter? You hacked about something?
No. Why do you ask that?
Well, figures you saw about something. What'd you do, take a sour pill? You keep this up, you won't be asked to pose for toothpaste ads.
Oh, that's funny.
All right, Joe. Tell your Uncle Dudley. What's the matter?
Well, it's that court deal yesterday. It was miserable.
Thing you and Gaffney been working out?
Yeah, the white glove bandit came up while you were out on vacation. Spent over a month on it, covered it from every angle.
Yeah.
It looked like we had the guy any way he turned. We had an idea how much he'd taken on each job. Lee thought he traced him on every move he made on each of the deals. We figured we really had the guy. DA's office thought so, too.
They quit him?
Yeah. Let him walk right out. 12 men, good and true. Let that cheap hoodlum walk right out on the streets a free man.
Well, that's the way it goes sometimes.
Is there Mr. Friday here?
Yes, sir. I'm Friday. Is something I can do for you?
Well, I'm Richard Houston, Naval Intelligence. Deputy Chief Brown directed me to you.
I see. Well, it's my partner, Frank Smith, Lieutenant Houston.
Hello, Smith.
Why, sit down, sir. What is it we can do for you?
Well, we got a weird one. That's why we thought your department ought to be in on it. About all I can tell you is just the skeleton of the thing. We don't know all the details. We haven't gone into it completely yet. We figured you fellows would like to be in on it from the beginning. Looks like it's going to be a police investigation.
Yes, sir.
To begin, I should go back 3 weeks ago and tell you the story as near as we've been able to reconstruct it.
Yes, sir. Go right ahead.
Well, a couple of Marines left the base. They'd just gotten back from Korea, both on a 48-hour pass. We figured they came up here to L.A. They had a lot of back pay in their pockets. We don't know where they started, but they ended up in a cheap hotel. We got a call from the Shore Patrol early Monday morning. They'd gotten a complaint that the two boys were causing a disturbance in the hotel. They picked them up and found they both were in a pretty bad way. They had them shipped to the Naval Hospital down at Long Beach. By the time they got there, they were really rocky.
Well, I'm sorry, sir, but I don't quite see just how we're connected with this.
Well, I'm getting to that.
Oh, sorry.
All right, I'm a little long-winded. Anyway, last night, the boys had been AWOL for over 2 weeks. They were brought into the hospital, like I said. Doctors did what they could, but it was too late to help. One of the boys died late last night. We're not sure about the other one. That's where you come in.
Sir?
They were both poisoned.
9:06 a.m. Frank and I talked with Captain Lorman, then we checked out a trip car and left for Long Beach. When we got there, we talked with the doctor in charge. He told us that it would be later that night before the boy would be completely out of danger. He said, however, that we could talk to him if we phrased our questions so that the answers could be kept fairly brief. We looked over the boy's record. His full name was Jack Wayne Walker, age 24. He'd enlisted in the Marine Corps on January 14th, 1950. He'd spent almost a year in the Far East, and his service record had been good until this time. The record of the victim, PFC Edward Monahan, was pretty much the same. The boys had both come from the same town in Arkansas. The date of their enlistment was the same. They'd served overseas the same time. At 3:48 p.m., the doctor ushered us into Jack Walker's room.
Who are you?
Police officers, Jack. We'd like to talk to you.
What's it about? I haven't done anything. At least I don't think I did.
No, it's not that. We'd like to find out what happened while you were up in L.A.
Well, I killed my buddy up there. That's what happened. You heard about that, didn't you?
Yes, we did. That's what we want to talk to you about.
Poor Ed. Year in Korea. Guys taking pot shots at us. Cold, mud. And we've got to come back here to get it. I didn't trust that little crumb. I knew we shouldn't have had anything to do with it.
Well, you shouldn't have trusted who, Jack?
Stubby.
You know the rest of his name?
No, just Stubby. I just can't believe it about Ed. He shoved off for L.A. going to have a last fling. Ed was getting married as soon as we got home.
All right, if you could just start right at the beginning.
Oh, sure. Well, first, we both had a 48-hour pass. We figured to go to L.A., like I said, for last fling. A few drinks, look at some of the lights, have a little fun. Sort of a bachelor party for Ed before he got hitched, you know. Well, we pulled into town. Let's see,